action. Alrighty, so this is actually the video that I've been itching to make for a long time, and everybody's been asking questions. It's a big customer service area of ours, which is talking about flow being a constant, the effect of pressure and resistance, the evolution of the constructor brushes, the evolution of hose and tube, and the future of window cleaning. Okay, so what we've done is we've laid everything out here. We've got 150 feet of Rhino flat hose. So you'll see the first loop. The first loop is, let's have a look at it, 75 feet. That's in green. The second loop is the other half of the Rhino flat hose. It's another 75 feet of green. Then the third loop is Rhino high flow, which is, like everybody knows, we're wanting to switch everybody over to Rhino high flow from what is Rhino tube. So if we add it up, we've got 75 feet, 75 feet is 150, 75 feet is 225, 60 feet is 285, and we actually have 20 feet of garden hose here. So we've got 300 feet of hose at the beginning of the experiment. And if you come and have a look at the pressure gauge, you'll see with the water just running straight through the hose, you can have a look at the pressure gauge and say that's the pressure that we've got in the system right now, like 15 psi, maybe 10 psi, something there. And what we're going to do, oh, I've got to show you what else we're going to do. Come with me here and you'll see the evolution of the water-fed brush. So it starts here. This is where we all started with two pencil jets. Doesn't matter about the bristles are for agitation. What we're talking about here is rinse. Okay, so this has got two pencil jets here, and then we come to constructor brush. Now this is the third generation of constructor brush. We're not going back to the original ones or the Canons or anything like that. So we came out with Hydroblade so that we can get laminar flow and a water squeegee effect. And then as we come along, we show you the evolution of how we've adjusted the plumbing of all of these brushes. Then we come to Hydroblade 2, which is currently fitted to all new constructor brushes. So if you see it in white, you'll know it's Hydroblade 2. That's really exciting. We're going to show you why that works better. And then today you'll also see Window Weapon. No, this is not Window Weapon. This is all-rounder deep frame. Okay, so it's a deep frame brush, but it's all DuPont nylon bristle. Yep, with Hydroblade 2, the beautiful bent water, 60-degree bend on the water. We're going to show you all of that. And we're going to show you the effect of using Rhino tube compared to using Rhino high flow. So it's a long experiment, but it's really exciting to see the results. Okay, so let's do something. We want to demonstrate most of the flow, resistance, pressure, all of those issues. We want to demonstrate those with pencil jets because you can see it so demonstrably. We've laid out a tape measure on the ground so we can actually use the tape measure if there's any distinctions. Right, so we'll pop that in there, and we'll need a little supply line here so that we can connect to that. And then what we're going to do is we have tap pressure 15 psi at the gauge, and we're going to grab, running out the end of it all is this here. Not much. Okay, so that's just, there's no pressure here. Like, this is no pressure, but there's a flow rate. And this is the flow rate. And let's see what happens if we put that on the pencil jets. Yep. Oh, we're going to squirt it this way. Yep. Alrighty. So we can squirt that over here, and we can see how far that's squirting. Around about that mark there, yeah?
290.
How many?
290.
2.9 is 3 meters is about 10 feet. Okay, so it's 10 feet with 300 feet of hose and tube combined. Okay, so what's next? Oh, we want to have a bit of a feeling for the effect of Rhino tube and high flow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the 300 feet, and I'm just going to connect 60 feet of Rhino tube. Okay, so the way we do that is like this. No pumps yet. So we're going to grab one end of the Rhino tube here, Yep. We're going to bring it here to our supply.
Let me, whoops.
My bad.
Follow this. I show the hole.
Yeah, so you can follow the red. What's that trip hazard there? Okay, so this is all of that pressure, and we squirt the water. This is the 60 feet of rhino tube, and how far is the water squirting? Martin, please.
340.
3.4, right? So 3.4 is about another 2 feet, okay? So we took away the flat hose, we took away the high flow, and it squirts another 2 feet. So while we're here, let's do another experiment and take this here. Now you can see there's much more flow rate, right? Because we took away all the other hoses. And let's time, this is a Coke bottle, right? So let's basically count out how long it takes us to fill the Coke bottle with 60 feet of rhino tube connected. Ready? 3.
Should I do this?
Can he do this?
Can we do this? Timer.
Timer.
Stopwatch.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. 4, 5, I don't know.
4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. You say stop.
Stop.
All right.
22 seconds. All right, 22 seconds. Okay, so that's your flow rate. Now what we know is that flow rate is a constant. So no matter which brush we connect here, that flow rate will not change. 2 jets, 10 jets, 20 jets, 100 jets. The flow rate won't change. What will change is as we increase the resistance, the jet will squirt further and further and further. So the velocity changes, but the amount of water is the same, okay? So you can see that logic there. That's exactly the same flow rate at this cross section in the system compared to that. So do we have pressure or don't we have pressure? Somebody would say, oh, my jets only go like this, I don't have pressure. Sure, you've got pressure. What you don't have is resistance. And if you don't have resistance, you don't have velocity. And if you don't have velocity, you don't have squirt, okay? All right, so now what we want to do is show you why we want everybody with a constructor brush to change over to high flow, right? So that you can clean windows faster, better, safer. That's the way it works. All right, so I'm going to put that over there. I am now going to grab high flow, connect it to source. Oop, my bad. Okay, check the pressure. Pressure's the same. Nothing's changed from a pressure point of view. Right?
I follow.
Yep. And now we're running just high flow. Yep. And we're going to connect to the same setup here. And now we have high flow to 2 pencil jets. Like, the thing about pencil jets is that they're such a high velocity because people have to hold the pole off and they have to chase the dirty water off the glass with the pencil jets. But the problem with pencil jets, come and have a look at this, Martin, can you see that? The velocity creates turbulence, the turbulence splashes the water, and the risk is that you're going to splash your dirty water, we call it splashback, right? But you're going to splash your dirty water back over your pure water. So that's why we want laminar flow, that's why we want soft water to get a water squeegee effect. Now let's see how far this is squirting now. Have a look at that.
.9.
How many?
3.9.
Another half a meter is another 18 inches. Yeah, so it's another 18 inches just by changing 60 feet of rhino tube to 75 feet of high flow. So Now we want to have a look at the flow rate, right? Where's that timer? I say, what's the difference in the flow rate? Remember, no matter what brush we connect here, the flow rate is always going to be the same. If you have, I can do the same logic, right? The more I close that off, the less jets you've got open, the further the water's going to squirt. And you think you've got more water, but you haven't. You've got exactly the same amount of water, but the flow rate is higher. So let's time it. You ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
7, 8,
Oh, really?
9, 10, 11, 12.
Stop.
Yeah, that was 12. I stopped.
12.
I stopped a little late.
Ah, but let's say 12 and a half.
12 and a
What was
half.
the other one? The other one was,
The other
22.
one was 22.
right? So all of a sudden we can say the flow rate by switching from Rhino tube to high flow is like nearly double,
And
right?
also, you have more hose.
And we've got more hose. Like if we made it 60 feet, but you don't get 60 feet of high flow, you get 75. So, and that's what the calculation is. The inside of Rhino tube, let me connect this here again while I explain this. The inside of Rhino tube, let's say there's a jet this big. Yeah, oh sorry, it's not a jet. There's an orifice this big. And the inside of high flow is like this big. So if Rhino tube is I'm going to talk in metric, right? 5 millimeters, that's what it is. 5 millimeters. Now, if it was a square, we'd be able to work out the cross-sectional area. Yep, so come here. We're trying to work out what's that cross-sectional area. Now, the real formula is pi r squared, is the area of a circle. But if we just made it a square, it's much easier to follow. If this was square and it was 5 millimeters, the Rhino tube is 5 millimeters, yep. Anyway, you know what I mean. Rhino tube is 5 millimeters, so 5 by 5 is 25. Yeah, so the cross-sectional area would be 25 square millimeters, right? Or 2.5 maybe. Anyway, 25 is the maths. Now, Rhino high flow is closer to 8. It's a little bit less than 8. No, 7. 6.8, something like that. So it's close to 7. So if that was a square, it would be 7 by 7, 49. Right? 49 is, let's say 50, is double 25. Flow rate, 12 seconds. Flow rate, 22 seconds, is like double. So what we know is by increasing the cross-sectional area of the hose and tube that you're using to feed your brush, right, we're going to double the flow rate.
And it
Yeah.
still fits the Warrior and all the...
Yeah, if it's the tube runner, yeah, we can show that now. That's a good thought. So it still fits up into tube runner. A little bit tight, you know, but when you've got your pole up, it's still working and being held inside the tube runner.
Mini Warrior tactical one. Right.
Yes. Woohoo!
Woo!
Okay, so you'd never do this. You'd never run flat hose up the pole, but let's see what would happen if we connected flat hose to a pole. How to do that? Do a little bit of jiggling here. Disconnect you on. I have to connect flat hose. The pressure's going to be the same. Disconnect you there. That's the same one. And we need I need this piece here. It's a little bit thicky. To get this to connect, I need to put this into here. A double female. Connect to there. Oops, sorry, man.
It's okay, it's very warm.
10, 8, and then here we go.
Should I show them how it goes, the whole hose?
Yeah, let's do that. So start with the pressure. Pressure's the same, nothing's changed. We let the pressure build up in the flat hose a little bit. It's going up the flat hose.
Whoops, water. Yeah, and then it comes
like a
back.
laser beam, right?
It comes back
Yeah.
and goes up.
Okay, so let's see how far that's squirting.
It's about 4.3.
4.3.
4.3.
Another half meter. right? Another 18 inches, yeah?
We don't use these. No.
No pumps, no nothing, yeah? So it's still really low pressure, yeah? And the pencil, this is the whole point, like when you talk about ROs or systems or hoses, like in the past when people just had 2 pencil jets, none of this mattered, right? Because it's so easy to do anything with 2 pencil jets except clean windows fast, right? And there's money in glass if you clean it fast. That's the key. All right, so this is exciting. So let's get the old Coke bottle out, eh? See what happens. Disconnect this. Now again, you can see the flow rate's going to be a constant, whatever it is, and then the more resistance, the further the water's going to squirt. Now, in fact, the pressure's so low right now that we're not even expanding the flat hose, but we'll show you that in a minute. We're going to turn some pumps on and show you what really happens with pressure. Right? But are you ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Stop. 7.5 seconds would be good enough. So we had 22 seconds, 12 seconds, and 7.5 seconds. Because why? The internal diameter of the flat hose is greater than the internal diameter of the high flow. So the way all water dynamics works in the transport of water is you go from large to small, large to medium to small. Like you always go smaller. So when the town supply water comes out of a lake, it might be like a great big pipe, this big, yeah, that big. Right? When it gets to your house, it's a 1/2-inch copper pipe or a 1/2-inch PVC pipe. Right? So it's getting from big, and then they branch it off, and then the next branch is smaller, and then they branch it off, and the next branch is smaller, and then they do all the maths so that they can make sure that there's a balanced pressure throughout the whole distribution of the town supply water. And it's the same for you as a window cleaner. You need to understand that if you want to maintain the flow rate, you need the less resistance or less cumulative resistance, so you basically transport water in a bigger hose. The problem with North America is that your garden hose is like 3/4 of an inch. It's like this, you know, and then trying to carry that, trying to roll it out, trying to recover it is all a disaster. And that's why I developed flat hose, right? So you have a look at this. This is flat hose, and we're going to show you something really interesting right now about flat hose. So let me reconnect all of this. So we go 75 feet of flat hose to 75 feet of flat hose to thank you, nice teamwork. To 75 feet of high flow, yeah, to to 60 feet. Nope. Maybe we'll connect there. Are we good?
We're good.
There. And then
There.
there's my little 8/8, which I put in my back pocket. I got it. Got 8/8. And we're back here. Now, what we're going to do, whoops, cameraman did. Right, so you can see how far it's squirting. You can have a look at the pressure. Yep, go back here.
It's back to 2.9. Ah, 3.
Around 3,
Yeah,
right? About
yep.
10 feet. So it's squirting about 10 feet.
And the pressure,
And the pressure,
still the same. Ah. Yep,
15.
almost 15, yep.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to pump up this flat hose with a bit of pressure. I have 2 pumps. I'm going to go and turn those 2 pumps on, and you have a look at what happens to that pressure gauge.
See, it's getting close to 90.
Yep, and have a look at what happens to flat hose. flat hose is not flat anymore.
Say that again.
Flat hose is not flat anymore. Yeah. Now, we added some pressure. Like a lot. Oh, look at that, baby. That's about 20 feet.
20 feet.
Yeah, 20 feet.
Yeah, the measure not good, not big, long enough.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so if you want more flow rate, you can add pressure. What we can show you is that the actual, what did we do before? We just ran it to, we took the high flow out, right? And we ran the Rhino tube.
Yes,
Yeah, so we'll,
that's the first thing. Only Rhino tube. And then we did only high flow, and then we finished with only flat hose.
right.
60, 75, 75. 60 Rhino hose, 75 high flow, and 75 flat hose.
Okay,
And now we have all together
yeah,
90 psi,
yep.
and we put all hoses together.
So we've got 300 feet of hose.
Yes,
And then what we want to do is show what happens if we turn the water supply off,
yes,
right? Is that the next thing to show?
yes. And I would like to if we shoot on the window because I think we can see it better there. Yes.
Okay.
If I,
Baby up.
yeah, that's perfect. We see,
That's hitting those shutters, right?
yeah. How long is this, Perry?
20 feet.
That's 20 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's squirting on the window there.
Okay, so now I'm going to turn the pump off and you turn the tap off.
Okay.
Okay, so there'll be no water going in there.
So Perry's going to the pump to turn it off, and I'm turning off the hose.
All right.
Look at this.
So what's the story here? We have no pump, no water, but the jets are still squirting.
And how long is this?
Oh, it's getting shorter and shorter. You know?
Yeah, I can understand that.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
没事没事，
没事。说这个是吧？谢谢啊，谢谢。
或者他们管。
啊，OK，
Okay. Good, good, good.
Thank you, man. 谢谢啊。
So, that's our security guard. It's pretty cool, right? So here's the story. Why are these jets still squirting? And the answer is flat hose. Flat hose expands with pressure, and then as soon as you remove the pressure, it purges itself. So it acts like what's called an accumulator. Some guys have got accumulators in their fluid dynamics. Yep. But it's actually purging itself right now, and so it's got this long pressure.
How long has it been squirting?
Quite a while.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's one of the benefits of flat hose. Flat hose expands with pressure and then contracts with less pressure. So it actually acts as an accumulator and it stabilizes your pressure rate, right? So it makes the brush behave in a particularly consistent way, right? It's kind of like one of the little secrets of flat hose, right? Because it's still emptying itself. The great thing about flat hose, let me just show you something if we disconnect it.
You can see now it's flat.
It's flat again.
Yes.
Right.
Let me see that.
Oh, there's no water here, so that's
Yeah.
the point.
Yeah.
Right? There
No
was
water coming out.
It's still putting water out here,
Yes.
right? Because it's still.
And we look at the hose. It's flat now.
Yep.
Before it was round. Here you can see it even more. Yeah.
And this is not scripted, right? So, flat hose is super good for recovery, right? If you're working around residential, then you have a look at this. I can take 6-foot loops. Yep. And put 6-foot loops. Right? And that's 37.5 feet right there. You can't do that with garden hose. So when you want to deploy your hose and you want to recover your hose, right, then I'm just going to pull this back now, right? run.
Steady cam.
So, flat hose, Martin, I was talking to Martin before, and he said, like, you know, did you invent this? And I go, yeah, like I innovated it. But it's my favorite innovation because when I was window cleaning as water-fed window cleaner, traditional guys, this is going back to 2006, 2007, traditional guys would come to me and say, dude, I can clean half the windows before you can even roll your hoses out, right? So, and some of you might be able to relate to that. And that kind of pissed me off a little bit because I knew it was kind of true. And so I racked my brains for a long time that I needed to develop a hose that was good for rapid deployment around corners and in and out of obstacles, great for rolling out, great for pulling back in. You know, there's money in glass if you clean it fast, and we shouldn't just think about how fast we can clean the glass, but what's our rollout time, what's our pack up time or pack down time. You know, they're all parts of how to make money, you know, so I'm really excited about flat hose, okay? All right, so now, oh, what?
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
This is okay, right?
Yeah, that's all just people chatting.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to get back to all your questions afterwards. Yeah. Okay, so now what we want to do is maybe we'll boost a couple of pumps up. We'll run through a couple of the brushes, maybe. Yeah.
Yes, to show the evolution. Yes.
Yeah?
And why they are squirting more or less.
And then how we've changed, how we've adapted. Like the more we've learned over the last 4 years since we released Constructor Brush, like all the different adaptations, all the feedback that we get, and then like trying to work out exactly how to make a better brush so that you can clean windows faster.
Exactly.
Yeah. Pardon me.
All right.
All right, so let's think about this. That goes to there. That goes to there.
So
Then
we are back to 210 feet plus garden hose.
300 feet.
300 feet.
Yeah. And what we are going to do is we're going to
check the brushes.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what we're going to
work
do.
our way through the brushes.
Yes.
With the same setup. Yeah.
Yes, the
So
same setup.
Let's use this, and we'll leave the pumps on, right?
Yes, and I will also, we turned off the water, so the pressure is down to zero, of course.
Okay, you turn on the water, I'll turn on the pumps, and then we'll work our way through or should we work our way through, maybe we should work our way through the brushes without the pumps. Although the pressure's like crazy low. Well, let's try, and then we can always turn a pump on if we need to.
Yes.
Okay.
So I turn on the water without the pumps.
You turn on the water.
Just check so you don't turn it on in secret. I see you. All right, we turn it on. Yep, Perry's still here. Okay, let's see. We are at... Yes, we're back with very low pressure. It's about 10 psi.
Yep. Wow, that is low.
That is low because we have how much?
300 feet of hose.
300 feet of hose. And what kind of hose do we have? The best. Yep, all right.
Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to close that off because we don't have a pump running, so we can disconnect this. Yes. Yes. That's great. All right.
If you're David Letterman, I'm the other guy.
That's right. Here you go, take. This is the quick disconnect. Now you understand why we've got reload, so that we can switch out between brushes. So this is an original...
Reload? Where is reload?
Oh, it's down the end there somewhere.
Yeah, good.
I'll show you that.
Oh, great.
Okay, so this is a typical situation that people found themselves in, right?
All right. What brush are we using?
This is an original... this is actually a bronze brush, right? And so this is the problem when people got a Constructor Brush with Rhino tube and 300 feet of hose and all that kind of stuff. This is the challenge that we got. I don't have enough pressure. You have enough pressure, we don't have enough resistance. Okay, so there's two things we can do. We can turn the pump on, which I might do, right? Or we can change from Rhino tube to high flow. So let's do that. First, we will disconnect Rhino tube. And we're just going to change the length of Rhino tube.
So now we have removed the Rhino hose.
Yes.
And we only have
Rhino
tube,
tube.
sorry.
Yeah.
And we have now only high flow,
Yes.
75 feet, and we have flat toes, 150 feet.
Yes.
Same as before, just no.
No Rhino tube.
Yes.
Rhino tube is gone. High flow is in. We didn't change any of the plumbing. None of the fittings here. I'm going to show you what happens if we change the fittings here. And all of a sudden you can see that's completely right. That's exactly the amount of water that we want coming out of a constructor brush. Right? We want it to be squirting around 12 to 18 inches maximum. You don't want velocity, right? You want a flow rate. The flow rate hasn't changed, right? Oh, well, actually the flow rate has changed because we changed to high flow. So now we have a greater flow rate through the same resistance.
And the pressure is the same, right?
Yes.
Exactly the same.
Yes.
It's about 10 psi.
Yep.
So the pressure hasn't changed.
So you did have enough pressure, right? You just didn't have enough flow rate. Yeah? Okay, so let's go through the evolution.
Oh, I did something wrong, sorry.
Huh?
Oh, now I was in camera there, sorry.
Yeah,
Well.
now everybody knows what you look like.
Damn. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay, so let me show you this. This is an early generation. So as people go to change out to high flow, you can change out to high flow this way, like come down here. We can connect high flow, you know, basically to the brush directly and then have the Rhino tube. But you can see we had this T here, right, at the bottom here. And this T is basically like a 5mm ID tube going into two 5mm ID tubes. So what I want to show you is that even if we just change that out, we also get another difference. Come around behind you. Okay, so this is the same brush. Oh, yo, straight through the water. This is the same brush, okay? Memorize that. And what we've done is that in this generation of brushes, we have a brass push fit T here, which has got a bigger ID. The problem with these are the barb fittings. The barb goes inside the hose or the tube, whereas push fits go around the hose or the tube. So without moving that one there, you can see that, and I'll just bring this one in. Still,
Okay, give me a second so we can get them same. Yes, exactly.
right? So you can see that's squirting like just, it's more. You know,
Yes.
it's probably 20-25% more just by changing this fitting at the bottom here. However, I wonder if my next brush can give me what I want.
What brush?
Yeah, let's have a look at what the next brush is.
Yeah, what do we have? Oh, it's a generation, next generation.
So the next generation, oh, let's talk about this because this is a 16-inch brush. Now, before we had a 16-inch brush and we were feeding 8mm into the 16-inch brush, and the 16-inch brush had 13 more jets. So Hydroblade was in modules of 4 inches with 13 jets in every one. And when we connected that, right, then we ended up with less velocity. Yeah? So you see that? So that's the same flow rate through 13 more jets. And you can see that the velocity is less. Okay, so we saw that and said, okay, well that's an inherent difficulty or challenge. People need to have more pressure, right? So how would I solve this? In the past, what we said is put a booster pump on or change your hose or tube, right? But these are all the real things that people have fed back to us. So let me just take this one off, put this one on, and you just have a look at the effect. I'm going to turn the pump on, and you have a look at the effect of turning on the pump.
Okay, let me just check the pressure first. Are you turning on the pump? Whoops. Yes, it's going up. I don't know if you guys hear the sound of the pump starting here, but yes, it's getting close to 90.
And what do we got? Holy moly!
There's a massive difference.
Now we've got too much, right?
This is,
This is going to splash on the glass.
yeah.
Because like constructor brush is all about,
Oops. Here I have it good. Now I can see it perfect. Yep.
constructor brush is all about having laminar flow. We want the water to cascade. We don't want any splashing.
We don't have-
want. The brush is going to stay on the glass. The bristle is going to break the surface. This bristle is a blade, right? See this? Like that's a blade here. That's a blade. That breaks the surface tension of the glass. We get the jets onto the glass. We don't want it splashing like this, right? That's just splashing.
Basically, it will be like.
Yeah, it'll come up when the bristle's up.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, I can do that. Yeah. But even that, you can see like it's just too much. Right?
Yes.
So too much pressure, and you got another problem. You start splashing the water all over the place. Your dirty water gets on, splashed up, and you end up with spots because you're trying to piss water everywhere, which you just don't need to do, and you shouldn't do. But that's, our responsibility was to educate how rinse bars should work. So the idea of making a low flow rinse bar with smaller jets means you got the same water going through smaller jets, more velocity, splashing water everywhere. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for laminar flow, cascading water squeegee effect, right? So I will turn that pump off.
Turning the pump off. Oh, yes. So the only pressure we have now is from the
spigot, yeah?
Yes.
All right.
Great.
That was educational.
That was interesting. That was cool.
Okay. So now let's bring these three brushes closer to me.
All right. What do we got here?
This is Hydroblade 2.
Hydroblade 2.
Yep. And if you bring down all-rounder deep frame. Yep.
All-rounder deep frame.
Yeah, look at that. That's sweet. Okay.
And that is a new one.
That's the new one.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to end up with one pump, I think. Oh, you know what I could do? I could just change out, if I want it, well, let's do it all while it's live, right?
Yeah. And we now at 300 feet of tube.
No.
No, we're not. We're at
240.
240. We don't have the hose, the Rhino hose. The Rhino tube.
We don't have the Rhino tube.
Yes.
Yep.
You are right. Exactly. This is not connected.
Right.
All right.
Okay, so this is Hydroblade 2. I'll change that angle a little bit on that brush.
Can you turn it a little
Yep,
bit?
like
Yes,
that.
perfect.
Okay,
Thank you.
So Hydroblade 2, this will work actually, but as soon as you go up on the building, then the gravity is going to reduce the pressure because you have to push water. It's 5 psi per 10 feet, so you're going to lose your pressure by having a back pressure created by gravity. So we need to overcome that. Okay, so let's have a look at the effect of the flat hose, right? So we said, okay, well, let's take 75 feet, because some people want to get a great big long hose and then say, I want to run the hose out or leave it on the reel and say, well, what's the effect of running more hose than what you need?
Also, difference between Hydroblade and Hydroblade 2. Yep.
Damn, that was quick.
Fast. Okay, we removed the 75 feet of flat hose.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
Yeah. And you can see before it was squirting to here and now it's squirting to here.
So we got more.
So we've got more velocity, right?
Same
Flow
pressure.
rate's the same.
Yep.
Pressure is backing up, whatever it is. And remember, we're dealing with 15 psi of pressure in the system, right? So let me go and turn one pump on.
All right.
See normal pressure.
Let me see the pressure here first before you turn on. Yep. No pumps. We're at 10. It should be almost up to 90 now. No, it's only one pump, right?
One pump.
One pump, so we're not up to 90. No, we're up to 50.
Yeah. Which is normal.
Yep.
It's normal. Like, people may not recognize, but we're on the 4th floor, so we're actually taking water from a tap or a spigot on the 4th floor.
Fourth floor.
4th floor. So we've already got, some problems getting water pressure up here.
Yep.
Right, so if you have a look at this.
Oh, it's harder to film now. More. This is a huge difference.
So this is Hydroblade 2. Yeah, and I'll show it to you this way as well.
Perfect.
Stunning. Right, I'll point it towards the building. Watch out, it's spinning around.
Oops.
I don't want to get wet. Right? So you can see, look,
That is wonderful. Yeah.
and from here, if you come up above it, people can see the logic of Hydroblade 2. We're bending the water back here. Like you can see that water, it's actually coming around there and then bending back. We're actually upgrading this just a little bit to bend it back even further. But have a look at these end caps. We are when those bristles are in the corner, that jet is in the corner. When this is coming down the frame, that jet is coming down in the corner of the frame. Like we have water where you need water. This is the first time ever. And we're really excited about this because we're actually, mastering where we want the water so you get the rinse. If you get the rinse right, you get the confidence right, you're going to clean windows faster, better, safer every time. Right? So, the number of jets on a modern Hydroblade 2 brush, whether it's 12-inch all-rounder, 16-inch all-rounder, 12-inch window weapon, 16-inch window weapon, deep frame, or like window weapon deep frame or all-rounder deep frame, the number of jets is exactly the same. That's the other thing we want, is so you'll easily change out between the brushes, get the most efficient brush for the glass that you're cleaning without having to change all your hoses and tubes and pressure, right? Because you don't want that pressure dropping off. So let's switch this out now to 16-inch
16-inch.
Hydroblade 2.
How many jets in the Hydroblade 2 compared to?
26 across the top and 8 in the end caps.
All right.
Right, so 34 is the answer. Yeah.
All right.
You put that between my legs. Grab that. That's the end of Rhino tube for the day.
Whoops.
Right.
All right.
And with the changes that we've got coming through, we've got, you can see here, we've got high flow coming all the way to the brush. So this is that, when we talked about 49 being the cross-sectional area, into 225 cross-sectional areas. So we've got no loss of water coming through this T. So all of the brushes now need to be modified or are modified to handle a push fit T, especially the 16-inch ones. Woo-hoo! Look at that. Take that down a little bit.
I'm coming around here. Whoa, now I that's perfect, perfect. I see a lot, yes.
That good?
Yep, that's wonderful.
So again, we don't want the water to squirt any more than that. That's the most important thing to realize, is we do not want high velocity water because it splashes. We want gentle water. These water are coming through, they're coming through channels like barrels. They're not just holes drilled in a tube, because that makes turbulence. What we're doing is we're trying to get rid of the turbulence, steer the water. When it hits the glass, it hits it smoothly. The water joins together and forms a water squeegee, inheriting the broken surface tension from the top blade, and then you've got yourself a clean cascading rinse, which we'll show you in another video, right?
And the pressure now is, let's see, it's still 50, almost not 50, almost 50, 45 maybe.
Okay,
Yep.
so 45 psi is fine, right? And we've got 75 feet of flat hose. We've got 75 feet of Rhino high flow. So we've got 150 feet rolling out right now, and we've got this kind of pressure.
And the garden hose. But,
20 feet of garden hose.
Yeah.
So 170 feet, right? We've got, now that's enough to get around most houses, like that.
I really see the spray here.
So what I could do is I could reconnect the other 75 feet of flat hose.
Yes.
Just say that's interesting. So this one, that will go
To the green flat hose. Yes. And then the
water's coming out here.
goes to the new high flow.
Yep. We give it a bit of time for the pressure to build up.
All right. And we're still at, let's see. Yeah, the pressure's the same. And we're checking.
Yeah, and this is perfect. This is that's exactly the right amount of distance for the squirt to travel, in my opinion, with a constructor brush, with the intention of getting a water squeegee. That's not high velocity water, right? It's not splashing at all. Yeah, it's soft, gentle, easy, joins together. Like, that's exactly the way it should be.
And we have the angles here, you can see it very clearly.
Yeah, and you can see again we're rinsing. So this is exactly the same number of jets as the 12-inch, exactly the same size, so you can just switch out between a 12 and a 16, and there's no issue. And then what we'll do is show you the deep frame, right, for those mullions, like these windows here. You can see there, the big frames. The problem with the window weapon is designed for low-profile windows, because we've got the bristles cleaning the frames at the same time as the block is cleaning the glass, or the scrub is cleaning the glass. I think that's pretty cool, right? I think there's a lot of efficiency in that. However, when we get into a deep frame, the end caps are 2 inches, and they're holding the scrub, 2 inches away from the frame, and that was a problem. So we solved that by making a deep frame, and this is the world's first deep frame. It's never even seen water, I don't think. So there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So all-rounder deep frame.
this is an all-rounder deep frame. with DuPont bristles, right?
We have DuPont bristle.
That's an American brand.
Yeah.
Now, normally, by the way, let's come in close here, right? We're going to do a deal on July 4th, right, for Reach It Minis, for people who have always wanted to, well, we've got so many people buying our brushes, and they've got other poles, and so we're going to do a deal on the Mini. It's our entry-level pole. It's great for pressure washers, great for up to 2 stories, great for gutter cleaning. You know, it gets used for all sorts of things other than window cleaning. Minis do. We even got them in Israel. They got used as, I don't know if you know this story, but we sold 20 to the Israeli army for the deployment of explosives in the Hamas tunnels.
Really?
Yeah. So 3 weeks after we delivered them, they blew up like 60 tunnels. But they were basically using the Mini to put the explosive in the tunnel.
And how is the Mini
And
doing?
then pulling the Mini, the remote, they use a remote control to release the explosive.
Ah.
Pull the Mini back, and then use another remote control to explode the explosive.
All
It's really
right.
Interesting. That was
Wow.
going back. That's several years ago now. Okay, so let's talk about this here. This here is, we would normally bring the Rhino tube up through the tube runners and connect the Rhino tube here. The weight of the Rhino tube, let me get a little bit of Rhino tube just so you can visualize it. So this would be coming up through here, right? And then it would connect, oops.
Whoa.
Down.
Your camera.
That was unintentional.
Oh.
It's funny anyway.
All right.
Right, now we would put Check It in here, and by the way, we're modifying Check It to handle high flow, right? So I'm just gonna make sure I don't flex the wrong way. And we would connect Rhino tube to here, and then we'll run a short length of Rhino tube to here, right? So that the swivel can move freely. And the weight of the tube is carried by the pole, not by the brush. And the people who didn't have a Reach It, for example, they'd connect it to here and then to here, and some of the little pieces broke that weren't breaking for Reach It customers so much, right? Because when you do this, there's no load on the brush, so the pieces didn't break. The more we sold constructor brushes to people who didn't have Reach It poles, the more we realized we had to fix that. And we now have fixed it. For any of you who have experienced it, we now have a brass T-piece in that center jet anyway. So even if you don't end up with a Reach It pole, you can fix that problem forever, right? So now what we're going to do is we're making a new bracket here, which will have a 10-10. It'll carry a 10-10, a 10-8, and an 8-8. So you'll be able to go high flow to Rhino tube if you want to. You can go high flow to high flow, or you can stay with Rhino tube in the future if somebody wants to. And this case is why you might.
So you can switch this
you'll
out?
be able to switch this
Ah.
It'll carry 2 of
Okay.
3.
Okay.
Right? So there's 3 options, but it'll carry 2.
Okay.
So it'll just be a double mount instead of a single mount.
Okay.
Here, so we're developing that now.
All right.
All right, so let's turn that down. That's up too high.
Yeah. Nose to glass.
And plug that little baby in there.
Oh yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, now look at that.
That is big.
That wants
I
to spin, man.
I will go around you because I can see the.
You want to turn- I know. I'll turn that.
Yes, here I can see it. Yes. And this is also the Hydroblade 2.
This is Hydroblade 2 for the deep frame.
And you can see the jets, the angles.
Yeah, now I'll show you what's amazing, right? The water is coming in here, yeah? It's coming through here, around here, it's going that way, and yet the jet is turning back 60 degrees the other way. I mean, how cool is that? Nobody's ever done that before. All right, so we're bending the water back so that it sits right when that...
We're bending the rules.
Yeah. You watch this, it'll come up above. Come
Okay.
Up above, right? It's pretty cool.
Wait.
So when that bristle is in the corner, right, when it's splayed, that jet is right in the corner with it. Yeah? That jet stream. Can you see that? Or do you want me to turn this way?
It's okay.
See, when this brush is on the glass, it's going to be splayed, right?
Oh.
So that jet is right there, right on that corner. I mean, that's just precision, man. Precision. And, you know, we took the end caps off. Watch out, this wants to turn. I don't know why. When we took the end caps off, we had 4 jets in every end cap. Yeah? Because you asked me before how many jets. So there are 26 across the top of a deep frame. And now you can have a look underneath. We've taken 4 jets out of the end caps and put them here so that the brush is balanced. Right? Because we don't want to have to adjust the fluid dynamics of your system. If you want to switch out from a deep frame to a constructor brush,
And they're also
or an
angled.
all-rounder,
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're all angled so that we get more water across. Now we're going to make a second one which will come out even further and fill this gap here.
Okay.
But that won't be balanced, right? So that'll be somebody who's just going to do commercial glass and wants as much water as they can, and they've got the pressure, because that's the thing. Oh, I haven't got enough pressure. If you more jets you put on the bottom of the brush, the less you'll think the less pressure it is. It's not the less pressure. You've got less resistance because you've got more jets open, so you'll get less velocity through that resistance.
But with the blade, the water will spread.
Yes. And what we're trying to do is this is particularly useful for super dirty windows. Adding water underneath, because this is a blade. The water doesn't get through this. So if we can put water under the brush and you pull that down, you're going to disturb the dirty water and turbulate it and bring it down the glass faster. I mean, there's money in glass if you clean it fast. That's how we roll, right? So everything which I'm doing is trying to get you the best tool. It's the brush that cleans the glass. The pole is juxtaposed against the ladder. You can't clean a window. Like if I just take this off, take the brush off and say, there goes your pole, right? You can't clean a window with that, right? This is your ladder. This is what's getting your tool to the glass, right? So, and it needs to be rigid. So, that's the key to all the reach-up poles. We're the only company that's only ever sold 100% carbon fiber, water-fed poles. We just refuse to go to hybrids and fiberglass and aluminium, which is even worse, or aluminum.
What pole are we using today?
This is Mini.
Oh,
right?
Mini.
Yeah, we brought out Mini because we're going to do a deal with Mini for July 4th.
Oh.
Right? Because there's so many people buying our brushes, and they go, I got to fit it to this pole, I'm going to fit it to that pole, can I fit to this pole, what about that pole? So we're going to do a deal where you can just have a reach-up pole, and then it'll have one brush on it. We don't mind which one you want to choose. You can choose a 12-inch all-rounder, 16-inch all-rounder, 12-inch window weapon, 16-inch window weapon, deep frame all-rounder. There's about a 14-day delay on deep frame. We sold out, actually. So there's a little bit of a delay on those, but whichever brush you want, we'll give you a DI tank. Do I tell them the price? You get resin, if they're in the United States of America only. You get resin.
Check it.
Check it.
Yeah.
Balance
to put on the bottom. High flow.
Hydroblade 2.
Hydroblade 2.
One brush, whichever brush you want.
So whatever brush I want, I will get.
Yeah.
That's a good.
So because you know what, there's a lot of people who say this deal is so damn good, but they got a bunch of reach-its, and I don't want any more all-rounders. I've already got all the all-rounders. So they may say, I've always wanted a deep frame. I understand now why I want high flow. Well, if you bought deep frame and high flow, that's $400, right? We're going to give you whichever brush you want, high flow, Mini, which is 25-foot pole. Other companies will call it a 30-foot pole, but it's 25-foot pole plus 5-foot operator height gives you a 30-foot reach. Yeah. So it's all 2-story, most 3-story.
All right. So if I understand you correctly, it's a deal on 4th of July. It's the Mini pole. It's whatever brush I want.
Yep.
It's the new high flow.
Yep.
It's the Check It.
Yep.
It's the DI tank. And if I'm in the US, you will also add
a bag of resin.
Yes.
Will fill that DI tank like one fill.
All right.
And balance.
And balance.
Yeah, I haven't got balance on this today.
To protect the bottom of the pole and also to
stop it from falling over.
Exactly.
It's a round pole leaning against the ground with a swivel on top.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really easy, just falling over.
So it's safer.
Solve that problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that'll be $990 delivered.
$990 for Mini, whatever brush I want, DI tank, Check It, high flow 75 feet, and a resin if I'm going.
Blade 2.
Yep.
It's gonna have nothing, no corners cut, nothing done cheap.
All right.
Exactly reach it gear.
Cool.
Super cool.
All right. So new technology coming out.
Technology.
Yeah.
What I didn't show Reload.
Oh, Reload.
Right, Reload is sitting right down there as a lonely old thing.
It's a lonely cowboy.
There it is.
It's a new sheriff in town.
This is Reload.
Yeah.
One of the things I know, because I used to be a window cleaner, and when we get out to 80 degrees through to 100 degrees heat, your brain is frying pretty quickly during the day, right? Right? So even though I'll say to you, look, there's an efficiency in changing a brush from a 12-inch to a 16-inch. Like our 12-inch brushes are basically a 14-inch splayed bristle, right? So a 14-inch squeegee similar. And our 16-inch brush splays to 18 inches, so it's like an 18-inch squeegee similar, right? As far as the maths and the logic of it, right? So, but you're not going to, it's easy when you're carrying in a gunslinger, you're carrying, 14-inch squeegee, 18-inch squeegee, But if you have to change and go back to the vehicle, change the brush, come back, then you're probably just going to struggle on with your 12-inch, or if you've got a 16-inch on, you'll struggle with your 16-inch. You should go back and get a window weapon because you've got non-water soluble accretions, excretions, and pollutions. You're probably just going to scrub for 4 minutes just to see if you can get the bird crap off or whatever going to come off.
And you know where it is.
If you have reload,
You always know where you have your brush. You never put it on the ground. It's safe.
Whatever your second brush is,
Yep.
it's going to sit in here.
Yeah.
Right, and if it's window weapon, we're also going to give you the scrub. It'll hold 4 scrubs on your other hip if you want, right?
And every brush will fit in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a 16-inch, for example.
Yeah, this is a 16-inch.
Yeah.
Yep.
So whether you have a 12-inch, a 16-inch, all-rounder, or a deep frame, they're all good
Yeah, I'll
for
go
that.
with 12-inch now. You
Yep.
can see, like if I'm wearing reload and I've got the 16-inch on,
Yep.
then I can put the 12-inch in there and I'm ready to go. I find some small windows
Yep.
and I'm going to pull out the 12-inch because it's faster. It's just the same as squeegees. Everything's the same. Yep.
Yep.
So it's game on. All right.
Yeah.
How are we done? We must have talked forever, man.
Yeah. It's a while. Maybe we should round up what we've been doing today.
Right. Summary.
Summary. My English.
Okay. Okay, so what we want to get down to a set of rules that you can follow, and the rules are these. Do you think I should turn that pump off? No. That's all right.
How about we turn the pump up?
Come this way, then.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So the thing that we need to know in order to get bigger and better money, right? Which is what Reach It's all about. It's not about reaching a higher piece of glass. I mean, everybody can do that. You can do it with a swimming pool pole. You can do it with a broomstick. You can do it with any carbon fiber pole. So it's not about that. It's about the efficiency, reaching a higher alley rate. That's my focus. Faster, better, safer. Right. So the things that we, as window cleaners, there's an education that needs to happen, and the more of you that can take the education, pass it on to other people, help other people gather what it is, and what it is that we need rinse bars on top of the brushes. The rinse bars need to squirt into the corners and down the edges. They can't just be shorter than the brush, because the brush, if you look at a normal broom style brush, right, I'll just show you this, right, you put a rinse bar from here to here, and you don't want it coming over the edge because we already know that it scratches glass and frames and everything like that, right? There's a bit of history on that. When you put that on the glass, you look what happens. The rinse bar is here, right? Here, from this side, you can see it better from the top, right? So the rinse bar is stopping here so it doesn't scratch anything, right? So the first and last jet is here. You're going down a frame here with your bristles splayed. Your water's here, right? So it doesn't squirt this. And then if you're going into a corner, maybe I'll show you here. If you're putting those bristles into the corner, right? Your bristles are in the corner, that's fine, but your jets are over here, so it doesn't work. It never worked, and it never will work, right? So, and that's why we never had square end caps on Constructor Brush, right? Until we learned how to bend the water and put the water where it needed to be in order to clean the window properly, right? So it's just it's the evolution of understanding, the physics and the science and the art of cleaning a window. You've got to get the bristles into the corner here, right? But you've got to get the water into the corner to rinse it. Otherwise, what happens is you see these guys who've got these rinse bars jacked onto the top of broom brushes like this one, right? Is that they then have to take it off the glass and rinse, right? So then you've lost the advantage of Constructor Brush, even though they'll say it's the same as Constructor Brush, but you lose the advantage of on-glass rinse, which is where your efficiency is. Agitate in the upstroke, rinse in the downstroke, right? The least number of actions possible so that you get off the job faster and make more money. What was I going to say before I went to that?
Oh, for the people who just watched,
the summary.
Yeah. Yeah. What have we been doing? We have a lot of hose here. How long? We have 3.
We have 300 feet of hose. So the whole thing is that we're trying to show you that if you get from large hose to small hose, don't have too much small hose because there's a pressure loss through small hoses and through tubes, right? So we can switch out and say, okay, Rhino tube and all tubes that emulate or copy it, that have been developed since we brought it out, like I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek, it's all over. Its time is gone. It's a little bit like when Steve Jobs took out the floppy drive out of the computer. He was the first guy to do that. Did the computer work with a floppy drive? Yes. Did it work without the floppy drive? Yes. Why did he take it out? Because he said it doesn't belong in the future. And was he right? Yes. Okay. Second, who was the first person to take out a DVD-ROM and CD-ROM out of a computer? Apple. right? What was the point? Did it work with one? Yes. Did it work without one? Yes. But why did he take it out? Because it didn't belong in the future. So I'm telling you, like, Rhino tube does not belong in the future, because the future is here.
Right in front of me.
The future is here.
Yeah.
This is the future. Bent water, pointing where you want it, bristle blades with absolute coverage of the glass, breaking the surface tension of the glass, giving you a water squeegee effect, turning hydrophobic glass hydrophilic, right, in every single stroke, no matter what the glass is, no matter how nano-treated it is, and sometimes it's even better because super nano-treated glass actually, as the brush comes down, right, the window is dry after the constructor brush has come down. Right, so what you want to do is make sure, what's that, pressure gauge, yep. What you want to do is make sure that you're going from big hose to medium-sized hose to smaller hose if you need to. So there's nothing wrong with running a garden hose, especially if you're starting out or you haven't got the capital. But if you can buy like Rhino flat hose, you know, and flat hose becomes round-ish, right?
Yeah.
It becomes roundish with about 30 psi of pressure. Self-purging, non-kink, easy to pack up, easy to deploy, right? So it's a great hose. Then into high flow, and then don't roll out more hose than what you need, right? Don't leave it on a reel, because those are all additional pressure losses, right? They're cumulative. The longer the hose is, the more cumulative the pressure loss, and what that affects is the flow rate that you have at the end of your system. So, and the key is to understand, no matter which brush I put on this, with 2 jets, 4 jets, 10 jets, 1 millimeter or 1/24 of an inch jets, 1/12 of an inch jets, 50 jets, 100 jets, the flow rate is a constant right here, right? So if you want the water to squirt further, you have less jets, right? So you have more resistance, smaller jets, but we know we went to 0.8 millimeter jets, 0.7 millimeter jets, we went through all that pathway, and what we realized is that even though we were putting them down a barrel, but the smaller we made it, the higher the velocity, the higher the velocity, the higher the turbulence, the more likely the water is to splash, the less likely it is to be a water squeegee. Right? This is the whole geek out I'm giving you right here, right now. Right? So what we want the highest flow rate we can with the available pressure. We understand that we may need to boost the pressure with a pump, right? Or we may need to use bigger hose so that we have less pressure loss through the system. If you have low water pressure all the time and you can't get hold of electricity, although you can, what I would do is go to tractorsupply.com and go and buy an ATV chemical tank and just fill the water into a tank and let that and have a little pump on it and let that pump do the work, right? So if you've got that, you understand that that is a constant. I can make that behave whichever way I want if I control the jets, right? And the latest sort of step in that is understanding that we've made sure that our 12-inch all-rounder, our 16-inch all-rounder, our 12-inch window weapon, our 16-inch window weapon, our window weapon deep frame, and our all-rounder deep frame all have exactly the same fluid dynamics profile, so that you can take this constant flow rate and switch between all of our brushes going forward, right? And we'll give you a HP2, like we call a HP2, sorry, we'll give you a Hydroblade 2 upgrade as we master the little kit of which kind of brush you've got, which generation of brush you're wanting to adapt, right? So we're just working on all that now. We'll have that out, I think, by the end of this week. And then you'll be able to upgrade to your Hydroblade, to your high flow, and Hydroblade 2 with the right kit to transition your brush. So I've got to take photos and make a video and all that sort of stuff, okay? So I think that summarizes it.
Yeah, exactly. We tried 300 feet of tube, the Rhino tube, and the new high flow, the flat hose, and then all the brushes from the beginning to today, and the old and the future. And the future is
it's right here. This
yeah,
is the latest.
yeah.
It's like magic, man. It's like magic.
Rinse in the corners.
What I love is the water's going this way here. Right? It's coming in from the left, going back to the right. It's coming in from the right, going back to the left. Yep. So we're actually bending the water so it's in exactly where you need it.
And we're rinsing on the way down.
And we're rinsing on the downstroke.
All right.
All right.
Wonderful.
That's it. That's my dress rehearsal. Now we're going to make some formal videos and see if we can truncate all this so you don't have all the verbiage that goes with it. But I hope it was interesting. Please, any question you have, any observation you have, any video that you might want to see that we haven't covered, do put it in the comments below, and then I'll address all that, and we'll see if we can get you a really great series of training videos that you can share with your team so they also can understand this.
Yeah, if
right?
they want to know more or even...
Yeah, because this is what I've learned, is that education should deliver income, right? And so, you know, guys who don't want to be educated, guys who don't want to train their workers, guys who don't want... I had a guy the other day, he says, you know, I use the constructor brush, but I don't let my workers use it because, they don't understand it, whatever. But if they did understand it, if you were able to educate them, or if I can educate them with our videos, right, then these guys are going to end up cleaning windows faster, better, safer.